The year 2025 witnessed a new and alarming dimension to the long-standing conflict between India and Pakistan. The escalation began not in the digital realm, but with a tragic act of violence on the ground. On April 22, 2025, a brutal terrorist attack in Pahalgam, a serene tourist town in Jammu and Kashmir, claimed the lives of 26 innocent visitors. This event sent shockwaves across India, prompting a swift and decisive military response. By May 7th, the Indian Armed Forces launched Operation Sindoor, a series of precision strikes targeting 9 major terror camps located in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The conventional military operation concluded within days, but it opened the floodgates to a different kind of war. Almost immediately following the Pahalgam attack and intensifying during Operation Sindoor, India found itself under an unprecedented digital siege. A colossal wave of cyber attacks, estimated at over 1.5 million attempts, was unleashed against the nation's digital infrastructure. While the attacks were engineered and launched primarily from Pakistan, the perpetrators used a sophisticated network to mask their origins. Digital traffic was deliberately routed through servers in countries like Bangladesh, Indonesia, Morocco, and various nations in West Asia. This complex routing was a calculated move to create confusion and make it difficult for Indian authorities to attribute the attacks directly and swiftly to their source, adding a layer of plausible deniability to the state-sponsored digital aggression. Behind this massive digital onslaught were several well-known and dangerous, advanced persistent threat groups based in Pakistan. Foremost among them was APT-36, a group also identified by cybersecurity experts as Transparent Tribe or Earth Karkadan. This group, notorious for its espionage activities since 2013, spearheaded the campaign. They were not alone in this digital war. Other hacktivist collectives, including groups calling themselves Silat Gangs G, Team Azrael and DNet, proudly claimed responsibility for various cyber intrusions. These groups, a mix of state-sponsored actors and ideologically motivated hackers, worked in a coordinated fashion to cripple India's digital backbone during a period of heightened military tension. The sheer scale and coordination of the cyber offensive indicated that this was not a random series of attacks by independent hackers. Instead, it represented a deliberate strategy to open a new front in the conflict. The digital space was no longer just an auxiliary platform, but a primary theater of war, fully integrated with military actions on the ground. The objective was clear: to cause widespread disruption, sow chaos, and undermine public confidence in India's ability to protect its critical systems and citizens. This marked the first time in the history of India-Pakistan conflicts where cyberspace was weaponized so systematically and on such a massive scale, signaling a dark new chapter in modern warfare. The architects of this cyber war selected their targets with strategic precision, aiming to inflict maximum damage on India's critical national infrastructure and governance. The attackers focused on sectors that form the very arteries of the country's daily life and security. The Indian Railways, a lifeline for millions of citizens, faced sustained attacks, as did the national power grids and major telecom providers like BSNL. The goal was not just to cause temporary service outages, but to create a sense of vulnerability and panic among the Indian populace. At the same time, high-value government and defense websites were relentlessly targeted, including the Prime Minister's office, the UIDAI database portal, and the Ministry of Defense, in an attempt to paralyze administrative functions and steal sensitive state secrets. To achieve their disruptive goals, the Pakistani hacker groups employed a diverse and potent arsenal of cyber attack methods. Distributed denial-of-service attacks saw a staggering surge of over 500% in India. This tactic involves flooding a website server with an overwhelming amount of traffic from multiple sources, causing it to crash and become inaccessible to legitimate users. Simultaneously, another common tactic was website defacement. Hackers successfully breached several websites, including that of Armored Vehicle Nigam Limited, and replaced their homepages with Pakistani flags and anti-India propaganda. This digital vandalism was designed to serve as a psychological blow, a symbolic victory broadcast to the world. Beyond the brute force DDoS attacks and defacements, more sophisticated methods were deployed to infiltrate secure systems for espionage and data theft. The APT-36 group in particular used its signature malware, a remote access Trojan known as Crimson. This malicious software was cleverly disguised within seemingly harmless PDF documents or embedded in fake login pages that mimicked official Indian government applications like the Kavach security app. Unsuspecting officials who clicked on these files or entered their credentials would inadvertently install the malware, giving the attackers complete control over their infected computers, allowing them to steal files, spy through webcams, and monitor all activity. The attacker's toolkit was extensive and included a variety of other advanced techniques. Ransomware attacks were used to encrypt and lock down critical data, holding it hostage for a payment. GPS spoofing was employed to interfere with navigation and tracking systems, a tactic with potentially serious implications for both civilian and military logistics. The overarching strategy was a multi-pronged assault: disrupt public services with DDoS attacks, demoralize the public with website defacements, and conduct deep-level espionage with malware and phishing campaigns. Every attack was a calculated move in a larger game to weaken India's resolve and operational capacity during a time of intense national crisis. Parallel to the technical assaults on India's digital infrastructure, a fierce information war was waged on social media platforms, particularly on X, which was formerly known as Twitter. This was a calculated campaign designed to manipulate public opinion, spread fear, and undermine the official narrative from the Indian government. Pro-Pakistan accounts, both genuine and automated bots, worked in a coordinated manner to flood the digital space with a torrent of false claims and propaganda. This war of narratives was just as crucial to their strategy as the hacking attempts, as it aimed to control how the conflict was perceived both domestically in India and by the international community, turning public sentiment into a weapon. The disinformation campaign was audacious in its claims, often manufacturing spectacular but entirely false military victories. These accounts propagated sensational stories, such as the complete destruction of India's advanced S-400 air defense systems, the obliteration of BrahMos missile bases, and the bombing of key Indian airfields. One of the most widespread lies claimed that Pakistani hackers had successfully taken 70% of India's national power grid offline, a fabrication intended to create widespread panic about an impending nationwide blackout. Furthermore, these narratives attempted to reframe the initial trigger event, portraying the tragic Pahalgam terrorist attack as a false flag operation orchestrated by India itself to justify its military actions. The spread of this disinformation was not left to chance. It was amplified by powerful state-backed entities. China's role in this cyber war extended beyond providing technical support for Pakistan's hacking capabilities. Chinese state media outlets such as Xinhua and CGTN actively participated in spreading and legitimizing Pakistani propaganda. By picking up and reporting on the false claims made by Pakistani sources, they lent an air of credibility to the disinformation, furthering its reach. This coordination raised serious concerns within the Indian establishment about the looming threat of a two-front digital war, where both Pakistan and China could launch combined cyber and information attacks against India during a crisis. Faced with this onslaught of falsehoods, the Indian government mounted a rapid and robust response to reclaim the narrative. The Press Information Bureau worked tirelessly to debunk the fake news circulating online. In a span of just 5 days, the PIB's fact-checking unit issued over 60 detailed clarifications, providing evidence to counter the lies and reassure the public. In a more direct measure, the government ordered the blocking of over 8,000 social media accounts that were identified as being key nodes in the disinformation network. This swift action was critical in stemming the tide of propaganda and maintaining public trust and order during a volatile period. Despite the unprecedented volume and intensity of the cyber attacks, India's digital defenses proved to be remarkably resilient. The nation's cybersecurity apparatus, led by the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERT-IN, was on high alert and managed to fend off the vast majority of threats. Out of the estimated 1.5 million malicious attempts, only about 150 managed to successfully breach their intended targets. Crucially, these minor breaches resulted in no major operational disruptions to critical infrastructure, and most importantly, no compromise of sensitive or classified government data was reported. This successful defense was a testament to the proactive measures and improved cybersecurity posture adopted by Indian institutions in recent years. India's defensive strategy was multi-layered and proactive. CERT-IN played a pivotal role by issuing timely advisories and threat intelligence reports to government agencies, financial institutions, and critical sector operators. These alerts provided specific details about the methods being used by Pakistani APT groups, allowing system administrators to patch vulnerabilities and strengthen their defenses. In the financial sector, key institutions like the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange took preemptive steps by restricting access to their websites from foreign IP addresses, effectively blocking a significant portion of the malicious traffic before it could even reach their servers. The conflict was not purely defensive, however. As Pakistan-based groups continued their digital assault, Indian hacktivist groups launched their own retaliatory cyber operations. A collective known as the Indian Cyber Force struck back, targeting Pakistani digital assets. They successfully hacked into government websites, including the official portal of the Pakistan Stock Exchange, and defaced them with messages of their own. In a particularly symbolic move, they breached and took control of numerous publicly accessible webcams across Pakistan, as well as official social media accounts, demonstrating that India also possessed the capability to project power and cause disruption in the digital domain. This counteroffensive served as a powerful deterrent. The 2025 India-Pakistan conflict will be remembered as a landmark event in the history of modern warfare. It was the first time that cyberspace was fully integrated as a primary theater of war alongside conventional military strikes and psychological operations. The events of May 2025 provided a clear and undeniable lesson. Future conflicts will not be fought on land, sea, or air alone. The digital battlefield is now an inseparable component of national security. For India, it underscored the urgent need for continued investment in robust cyber defenses, offensive cyber capabilities, and a comprehensive national strategy to combat state-sponsored disinformation, ensuring the nation is prepared for the hybrid wars of the future.